How are we doing today, Arantxa?
Very well. Thank you, Victor. How are
All
you?
right, excellent. So, for everybody who's going to be listening in, we have Arantxa with Spanish Gap Year. She is an expert, although she seems to be a little bit modest on that term, on how to help people get international internships, to do it right, to be very structured, to make sure there's a lot of return on the investment of time and effort and emotions of the families for having somebody go out into another part of the world. And since I've had my daughters go, both of my daughters have done time in different areas of the world, I have a very strong appreciation of the work that goes into this, Arancha. So, as you know, Metropolitan loves to add value to everybody in the expat scenario. And when it comes to the education of our children, it's something near and dear to the hearts, even of locals who try to send their kids somewhere else. So, with that, Arancha, if you don't mind, can you give yourself a brief introduction to make sure that I don't miss anything important?
Of course. Victor, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm Arantxa Lopez. I'm director of Spanish Gap Year, and I'm Basque. I'm from Vitoria in northern Spain, where I hope it's a little bit fresher than in Barcelona right now. And yeah, my background is in education. So I'm an educator, a master in language teaching, and turned entrepreneur almost by accident. So we started because we wanted to do an innovative language teaching program that would add value for teenagers and young adults. And during pandemic, that gathered momentum and it really grew into something even more powerful because what we wanted was to give them the opportunity to be fully immersed in language and get to learn language effectively and in a real way in context away from the traditional classroom. And when we designed Spanish Gap Year, we just brought all the best elements that we thought would be really worthwhile for young adults and designed Spain by Train, Future Leaders, and the hybrid program. So, what Spanish Gap Year is really is an experiential learning organization with headquarters in Madrid, and we offer young adults opportunities to travel Spain, discover Spanish culture, learn Spanish language, and develop professional skills through internship and through entrepreneurship. But ultimately, we like to think that we're providing them a space for growth.
Excellent. Okay, perfect introduction. Now, one of the things that I have heard over the many years when I heard describing the gap year is that it's a time off for some of the students, but that's not the case at all. So, can you tell us, uh, address that that elephant in the room, that myth right head on, if you can, Aransha?
Yeah, it's actually really nice to see it as a break from from a break from burnout, a break from traditional learning, but it's an opportunity to develop real skills, hard skills and soft skills. So it's not a waste of time while it can feel like a break and it's really nice. In the case of structured programs like Spanish Gap Year and others, it's an opportunity to develop some skills that you may not develop in college or that you might be developing in university, but that you don't have that hands-on experience. So it's really a space to be in a different context in terms of traveling to Spain while you discover a new culture as well. But it's gaining global perspective and being a little bit more inspired in a fun way about the future with structure.
Okay. Well, let's jump right into it. You mentioned college and universities. The first thing that comes to my mind is the whole thing about accreditation. So, can you talk to me
Mhm.
about what does accreditation mean for people who are in the programs and their families?
Absolutely. So we are very proudly accredited by the GYA, the Gap Year Association in the US. So that means, well, three very important things. First, that our organization follows the standards approved by the Department of Justice in the US. We like to do things well and by the book. Secondly, it means that our programs are eligible for 529 funds, which is great news for families, and it makes our programs more accessible to more families. And third, they can earn college credit while on program. So we know that a lot of freshmen aren't allowed by their universities to bring college credits after their gap year. But for those gappers who are a year, 2 years, 3 years into their university degree, and they want a semester abroad or a semester, a gap semester, they can bring back up to 12 college credits. So it means that at least for those who are continuing or already in their college degree, they are taking credit from language, they are taking credit for part-time internship, or credit from full-time internship. So depending on how many hours they're logging, they'll get an amount or other, but that's the third real gem, I think, from our accreditation.
Okay, so trying to navigate this period, if say you want to decide to go abroad for a semester and you don't really have any help, that could be a very challenging and frustrating time, particularly if you want to get things accredited or make sure that they count towards your school. So you guys really make sure that there aren't any missed opportunities or misunderstandings in terms of what you're going to get. And because you've done so many of these, you can really advise families to avoid mistakes that are very painful and expensive for somebody. So, okay, let me ask you this. What programs are Spanish Gap Year doing this fall?
Okay, so we have 3 programs running this fall. They are all 12 weeks long, and they're all running from September 6th to November 29th. So that means we'll be doing Thanksgiving together in Barcelona, and we do celebrate. So excited for that. So we have Spain by Train, we have Future Leaders, and we have our hybrid program. Spain by Train is all about learning Spanish and being immersed in Spanish culture. So this is for gappers who are really looking to get proficient with the language, if they're beginners, to get conversational to advanced, depending on their goals. But it's about learning the language properly, doing language lessons that are experiential, and enjoying cooking classes, historical tours. We do sports with locals. We do modules on sustainability. We do adventures in the Camino de Santiago, like surfing, canyoning. So it's super exciting. And we also do all of the arts. So theater, dance, music, all in Spanish. We visit 6 different regions in Spain by train. So we go 3 weeks to San Sebastian for homestay. Then we do 10 days in the Camino de Santiago in group living accommodation. 3 weeks in Salamanca, also in homestay. A week in Madrid in group accommodation. Then 3 weeks in Granada, homestay. And 1 week, our final week, in beautiful Barcelona. So that's Spain by train. Then we have Future Leaders, which is completely different. So it's all about internship and entrepreneurship. It's for gappers who really want to develop their professional skills and gain some work experience, and for gappers who may be curious about setting up their own business. So this one is also 12 weeks, but instead of traveling so much, we do 4 weeks in Madrid and 8 weeks in Barcelona. In Madrid, they do homestay. In Barcelona, they do student dorm accommodation. So that's the extra step towards independence, while having their own peers in the common areas, learning how to cook together, and going to work. For Future Leaders and for the hybrid program that I'll speak to you about in a moment, we have 2 versions. So everyone does the same preparatory month in Madrid with Spanish lessons in the morning and leadership workshops, mentoring for their internship in the afternoon, some cultural activities. And then once they get to Barcelona, we have 2 options to choose from. Gappers can choose to do a full-time internship, and then they are very busy in that, 40 hours per week, or they can choose to do a part-time internship and an entrepreneurship competition in the afternoon, which is Shark Tank style. So very exciting. Last spring, one of the groups actually got offered 45K in investment. So, we work on them. We work on them with their mentors so that the ideas are viable, and hopefully they can run with them long after the program. Vale?
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Will I tell you about the hybrid?
Please.
Super. So hybrid is the best of both worlds. It's nothing to do with online. It's all in person. And what it mixes is a month of Spain by train and 2 months of Future Leaders. So you get a month where you are doing 4 homestays because you're in 4 different cities. You go a week in San Sebastian, a week in Salamanca, a week in Madrid, and a week in Granada, all by train, doing your Spanish lessons and your fun activities in the evening, like I said, with the cooking classes, which is a huge hard skill that we give to the gappers. And then months 2 and 3 are in Barcelona in student dorm accommodation, and they work in the mornings and do entrepreneurship in the afternoons, or they work full time. That's hybrid.
I see. And so, Spanish Gap Year, you yourself and your colleagues, you find opportunities for companies where the interns, or the gappers, as you call them, can go and basically they already have something set up for them, or do they have to look for it when they arrive?
No, we set up everything before they arrive. So during the application process, we interview the gappers, each gapper one-to-one very thoroughly to understand their experience. We ask them to send us their resume, their cover letter, and to talk to us about their motivations so that we can match them with one of our partners in Barcelona, with one of our host companies. So what we try to do is match, first of all, if the student has a particular interest or a particular skill already, we try to match them with whether that's a marketing agency, whether it's sports management, if they're into sustainability, if it's someone who's already qualified as an engineer, depending on where they're at, if they're fresh out of high school or already a few years into uni. We try to do a really good match, and then we set up an interview between the gapper and the host company. If everything goes well, it's a match. If not, we do another interview. But most gappers get matched first time around, and so they know what company they're going to be interning with about 6 weeks before the program even starts.
I see. Okay. And after I guess the programs that you have, what are the outcomes of having been through those programs?
So first of all, I think that global perspective is a huge outcome and something that the gappers walk away from all three programs. And they all make new friends, which is a big one as well for those who have been doing, partly pandemic learning online. And, we know that they need a lot of soft skills. So aside of the hard skills that I already mentioned in terms of learning how to cook, learning Spanish, which is huge for the workplace and later on, we work a lot with them on developing important soft skills. So the main one that we do is leadership. We work on also public speaking and presentation when we're doing pitches, and also in orientation for their internship. We do workshops on communication and negotiation. That's written communication and verbal, because it's very important to learn registros, registers, depending on who they're going to be talking to. We also work on time management and project management, which are huge skills to bring forward into college. But I think that our main thing really is, aside of the personal growth, to allow them to walk away with an international network that they can continue to nurture long after the program. So one thing that they do, especially in Future Leaders and the hybrid program, we help them set up their LinkedIn account, and we mentor them in how to post, what to post, how to connect with peers from their host company in their internship, how to connect with our mentors and their peers as well. And then they get to be part of our alumni network post-program. So after that, we continue to connect them if they're carrying their business forward, if they're looking for a summer internship or a job in Europe after their program. We continue to make those connections with them and inviting them to all our informative webinars and in-person meetups as well.
Wow. So you're just answering the questions and kind of leading into my next one. So you're kind of like right there. So you talked about what the outcomes are of the program, but then you also kind of started getting into what are the gappers themselves? What's some feedback that you get from the gappers, and what do they walk away with?
Well, so they do talk a lot about the people that they meet, and that is including our staff and mentors, of course, because they are working with entrepreneurs. In Spain by Train, they are working sometimes with educators, sometimes with artists, and they're discovering passions and also discarding things that they don't want to do. So that's where we're saving families some stress and some money also, with them not going into degrees that they're not really interested in. So that is one thing that we hear about all the time. If you read our reviews, and they're everywhere, they also talk a lot about their work experience, of course, in their internship. There's huge growth in that. And the entrepreneurship side, when it comes to Future Leaders and the hybrid, is very surprising for many of them, because some of them have come with zero experience in business before, and they don't have a family background in it either. So it opens up a whole world of opportunities for them, where like they're like, oh my God, I could actually run with this. I could actually employ myself. And they're still very excited to continue college because they also realize how much they don't know. But that is something they absolutely walk away with. And for those doing Spain by train, the amount of Spanish that they learn is huge. And also for those gappers who come less prepared, they grow a lot in developing their independence because they get to live as a group, and that means they're sharing spaces. They're learning how to budget together when we do shops together and we cook together. They're learning how to clean, which is, not a given in that age group either, and how to live healthy in shared spaces and on their own. They learn how to navigate cities as well, and they talk about that in reviews. And I think mainly just the fact that after the program, they still talk to us, they still talk to their peers, and most of them do come from the US and they see each other all the time. They visit each other in their universities.
Okay, so you're actually hitting on something that I wanted to ask: is there a geography that you specialize in, or that you restrict yourself to? Is it only Americans or United States people coming abroad, or to Europe, or do you also do Europeans going somewhere else, or is it always specifically Spain?
It's specifically Spain and people coming to Spain, but it's not just people from the US. So we do have a majority of US gappers, and we also welcome. Well, we've had students from Canada. We have students from the Netherlands and Denmark coming this fall. We at times have students from Switzerland, from India, the UAE. So it depends on what group we have, but I have to say the majority do come from different parts of the US.
Okay. And as a U.S. citizen, also want to tackle a question: what is the biggest challenge to overcome? Say, when a student wants to come, are the parents scared, or is it more the children? Like, who do you market to, and what's the biggest challenge of getting people to come over to do a gap year in Spain?
So we like to talk both to the gapper and to the parents, and to start with, we answer all of the questions they may have and any worries. We get questions about visas, which are very easily answered because our programs are under 90 days. So they don't require a visa to come over. And sometimes they worry about homestay, for instance, and how we vet our host families. And the answer is that we vet them very thoroughly. I went abroad when I was 15 and I had a horrific experience with a host family. So I make sure that no one ever has to have that same experience on our programs. So what we do is work with families that we know and with whom we've worked with for years, or referrals from them, so that we have a little bit of trust. We do home checks, and that is every year, and sometimes several times a year. And we do background checks as well to follow Spanish law.
I see. Okay.
Mm.
So if somebody's interested in an opportunity or a program this coming fall, what are the
Mhm.
deadlines to apply?
So our deadline for the fall is coming up in 2 weeks. It's the 25th of July. That's the last day to sign up. But we would really love to hear from people before. We are actually interviewing through the weekend. If anybody would like to book a call, they can get in touch via the website. So we have a form there to book a call with myself or a colleague.
Excellent. Actually, interestingly enough, last night I met this young lass from Ireland, I want to say from Dublin, and she found her own uh, opportunity to work in Spain on her own, but it's going to finish soon, and she needs to start planning for January moving forward. And I
Okay.
talked to her a little bit about Spanish gap year, and she was really excited because she knows firsthand how much work is involved in trying to get it right. And so I think you're going to
Mhm.
be hearing from a young woman named Ella. Just a shout out to Ella, because she said she was going to look at this as soon as she could. She was going to be working now, but she's going to watch it in the playback. So
Lovely.
the
Yeah.
application deadlines is in 2 weeks, and
In two
we
weeks'
are
time. Yeah.
okay. And then what is the next step in the process?
So the next step would be to get in touch and to book a call with myself before you apply, because you can't apply without having an interview first. So you book a call. and we discuss the program details, we discuss your goals, which is super important for us to understand them. We answer any questions you or your parents may have, and then we follow with the application form. So it's very straightforward. It's 3 parts, and it takes about 30 minutes to fill out. The personal statement can take a little bit longer because that's where we ask you about your motivations, your resume, if you're doing future leaders or hybrid. But once we review your application form, then you're invited for a place in the program, and we contact your parents with booking details.
Okay. One other question that I have for you. What is the biggest, I guess, concern that people have when thinking about sending their child to Spain?
Okay, so one that comes to mind, and this we get asked a lot, is the language level and whether they'll be okay to come if they're beginners. We welcome absolute beginners. That is not an issue at all. Spain is a very welcoming country and a very safe country. So when students come with zero Spanish, what we do is support them a lot via our staff and our homestays. We place them with host families who have a little bit of English, and that way there's communication and it flows. Our staff are fully bilingual as well. So if anything happens, they have to go to the doctors, they have lost a passport, it's happened once or twice, we can go to the embassy with them, we can translate for them, transport, help them with everything they need. So Spanish is not a limitation. We welcome zero beginners to all programs.
Okay. I have another question for you.
Super.
Now it popped in, it popped right out of my head. I said, okay, I think I know what it is. When people are thinking about coming to Spain, and you said that you matched their skills and their motivations with an opportunity for them to get work. Where do most of the, I guess, jobs or internship and businesses come from? Like what cities do they go?
Oh, they go to Barcelona for their internship. All their internships are in Barcelona city.
They're all in Barcelona. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking Madrid and Granada also you would place them, but they're all here. Okay. And
all in Barcelona.
Another question that I have been asked in the past, not necessarily, and here's the question. Sometimes there are host families that have been through the process themselves, and now they are interested in being a host family. Sorry, sometimes there are people who've had their children go abroad, and now they want to be a host family. If there's somebody who's interested in being a host family, do you want to talk to them? Or how does someone participate, if you want to do international educational cross-fertilization type thing?
Yeah, so all they have to do is get in touch with us. Again, we'll post the website, but it's SpanishGapYear.com, and our emails are there, the booking a call. So just get in touch and we'll give you information on how to. But again, it's an interview, it's a house check where we come visit you and speak to your family, and a background check.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty easy way to understand. So here's the website for people to check out. Remember, go ahead and don't delay. Contact Arantxa so you can start doing your interview. And if you have any questions about the whole process, the Spanish Gap Year are experts on the subject matter. They make it nice and easy. And there's always a million other questions that pop up. But I think this has been very valuable to my Metropolitan readers and to our audience. So thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to share before we finish?
No, thank you so much for the opportunity, Victor. And as I said, please do get in touch. SpanishGapYear.com is the website. You can email me on info@SpanishGapYear.com. And we are on all socials as well at Spanish.gap.year. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much. So have a fantastic, weekend, and good luck with enrolling all these new people. I'm a big supporter of these international, practical business experience type opportunities. And so I really want to thank you for the work that you're doing. It's a huge support to our community as the world's getting tighter, getting closer, and we need to have these shared values, and we need a lot more friends around the world. So thank you for what you're doing in Spanish Gap Year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Victor. A pleasure. Have a nice weekend.
Take care.